Dads, what's the weirdest misunderstanding you've ever had with your child's school? My daughter's teacher called me in for an urgent meeting last week. Her voice was shaking when she said, "We need to discuss Emma's disturbing artwork." Something in her tone made my stomach drop. When I arrived at the school, the secretary gave me a pitying look before directing me to the conference room. Inside waited the principal, the school counselor, and my 7-year-old daughter Emma, who was happily coloring with markers they'd given her, completely oblivious to the tension in the room. "Mr. Davis, thank you for coming so quickly," the principal said, not quite meeting my eyes. "We have a concerning situation." The counselor, a woman with kind eyes but a worried expression, slid a drawing across the table. "Emma drew this during free time today, and then enthusiastically presented it to her class." The picture showed a stick figure, clearly me based on the messy brown hair, holding what looked like a large knife over another figure with long blonde hair like my wife's. Red crayon was everywhere around the blonde figure. The words, "Daddy cuts mommy open," were scrawled across the top in Emma's crooked handwriting. Several smaller stick figures appeared to be watching from the side. My heart sank. No wonder they looked so concerned. But then I realized what this was actually about. "Emma, honey," I said gently, "is this about helping mommy with her surgery demonstration last weekend?" Emma looked up from her coloring and nodded excitedly. "Uh-huh. I told everyone how you cut mommy open and saved lives." She beamed with pride, just like she does at work. The three adults exchanged confused glances. "My wife is a trauma surgeon," I explained, fighting back inappropriate laughter at their visible relief. "She teaches advanced procedures at the medical school downtown. Last weekend, she brought home practice suture kits and a simulation dummy to demonstrate an emergency C-section technique for her residents." I pulled out my phone and showed them a photo of my wife in her scrubs, standing next to a medical training dummy on our dining room table. "Emma watched us practicing while my wife coached her residents through the procedure via Zoom," I continued. "I used to be an ER nurse before switching careers, so my wife sometimes lets me assist her when she's practicing new techniques." The counselor's shoulders visibly relaxed. "So you were performing mock surgery on a medical dummy, not an actual person?" Before I could answer, Emma jumped in. "Daddy holds the special light and hands mommy the tools. And the blood isn't real, it's just the red stuff mommy brings home in bottles. Sometimes they let me put on gloves too. The red stuff is medical-grade simulation blood," I clarified quickly. "It's used in training to make scenarios more realistic." The teacher, who had been silent until now, finally spoke. "But Emma, why did you say this happens at home all the time?" Emma rolled her eyes dramatically in that way only children can perfect. "Because mommy brings her doctor stuff home every weekend." She sighed heavily as if burdened by this fact. "She says practice makes perfect, and that's how she saves real people. My wife is dedicated to her profession," I explained with a small smile. "We often joke that we should just convert our dining room into a simulation lab." The principal cleared his throat. "Well, this is certainly a relief, Mr. Davis. We're required to investigate any concerning artwork or statements, as I'm sure you understand." "Of course," I nodded. "I appreciate you taking Emma's welfare seriously." On our way home, I gently explained to Emma why her drawing had worried her teachers. She seemed confused at first, then thoughtful. "But Daddy, mommy does cut people open. That's her job." "Yes, sweetie, but she does that at the hospital to help people who are sick or hurt, and it's different from what your teachers might have thought." Emma considered this for a moment. "Is that why Mrs. Peterson looked scared? She thought mommy was hurt?" "Something like that," I said. Since then, Emma has become very precise about her medical terminology. Now when she draws her mother at work, she carefully adds a note at the bottom. "This is pretend blood. Mommy only cuts real people at the hospital with special doctor knives, not regular knives." Her teacher sent me a text yesterday saying that during sharing time, Emma proudly announced, "My mommy cuts people open, but it's okay because she has a license."